today we are going to talk about how to run a bakery business. Not from anyone else, but from the founder of Lopera himself. But you have to take a pledge first that whatever you're going to say, it's going to be truth, but nothing else. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. It will be a great pleasure.
Okay, so can we start?
Please do.
Awesome. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, cut. Hi Kazem, how are you?
Very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
The people here who are going to watch this episode, so we have a community of people, right, who obviously interact with us every day. So when I told them that I'm going to have you, the founder of Lopera, everyone was like, hey, guys, this is going to be a nuts episode. We have been to your outlet, we have been to your cafes, we have enjoyed your croissant and your pastries. Everyone wants to know how it's going to be. So people are super excited to watch this.
Thank you so much. I am very, very humbled by your words. I don't feel I fully deserve it, but thank you so much for the compliment.
No, you definitely do. You are just being super kind.
Thank you.
But, we wanted to know a little bit about you. Who are you? How did you ended up being in India? And after that, we wanted to know what's Lopera.
Very well. Where shall I start?
You can start with yourself.
Okay, I am Kazem Samandari, and I am by training an electronics engineer. I did my Ph.D. in industrial economy. I started my career by preparing feasibility studies for nuclear power plants. Today, me and my family, we prepare croissants, pastries, and bakery items, as you know. And in my career, which is now spans almost 50 years, 48, 50 years, I have done everything which lays between nuclear power plants and croissants. And it has been
quite a journey.
It has been quite a journey. And it so happened that in 2008, me and my family, we came and we chose India as our new home. We don't regret it, and actually we are very, very happy being here.
You have been, obviously you spent your life in Paris, right? Is there any similarity between India and Paris?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Some areas, but maybe surprising areas. One is the a sense for aesthetics and beauty. French people love aesthetics and beauty. And also they love music. Indians, they love aesthetics. Look at the beautiful, beautiful saris and also at the wonderful music which is there. That's one of areas that also there is a lot of people-to-people exchanges. There is another area, both civilizations, because they are ancient, they also love food. Right. So you have a food culture in France, which you have also a food culture in India. So these are some of the areas beyond many more that bring the two peoples together.
Right. So why did you ended up starting Lopera? And what's Lopera?
Well, Lopera is a chain of French bakery, pastry, and what we call Salon de Thé. And this was an evolution. It so happened that in 2005, my daughter and her husband and a baby who was 2.5 years old, they decided professionally to come to India. My daughter is a lawyer. My son-in-law was working at that time for McKinsey in their Paris bureau, and they wanted to have an international exposure. So they chose India as their destination. After 2 years, we were feeling very homesick of our daughter, her husband, and our grandson. And at that time, I must say, I was heading the Asian, Pacific, and Japan operations of a high-tech startup, Israeli startup in Asia. So my offices were in Sydney, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. I was spending 20 days a month in Asia Pacific, and 10 days a month I was going back home to Paris. So one day our daughter and her husband, who were in India, they call us and they say, the apartment below their flat, which was a ground floor, has become available. And the landlord says, if you want, you can have it, but you have just 2 hours to decide. So we had a conference call, me in Tokyo, my daughter and her husband in Delhi, and my son and my wife in Paris. And we had a conference call, and in 10 minutes, we decided to move to India. So that's how we came to India. And my son followed for his internship. He spent from January to July of 2008 on his internship, because at the end of his studies. And during this time, he discovered, or he noticed, whatever you may call it, that there were no authentic French bakery and pastry products. And then he had the idea, but we took it extremely seriously. It took us almost 18 months of market study and also business planning. We had over 50 interviews with suppliers, with customers. Even the French embassy, they gave us the kitchen of the embassy for 1 week.
Oh.
They have a wonderful kitchen. And we produced all the products which we were going to later offer as Lopera. So we created focus groups of Indians, expats, price, taste, etc. And then in December 2009, we decided to create Lopera. So we started as a pure bakery and pastry. That means, well, there were a few seats, people could have a coffee, but it did not have a cafe or a sitting area. This we added about 3-4 years later by calling it what we call it in France, which is Salon de Thé. The literal translation is tea room, but it is where you have all those things, you can sit, but you have also light meals. And now we have 8 of them. Plus the other outlets. The Lopera represents now 17 outlets, and 2 others are under construction.
Yeah.
So Lopera today is a chain of bakery, pastry, Salon de Thé, and we have also one which is a cafe restaurant in a wonderful part of Delhi, which is at Civil Lines, in a heritage building which we have renovated. It's a beautiful place.
So your son saw a gap that he could not find authentic pastries in India, and that's how you guys decided to solve that problem and fill that gap, and you ended up opening Lopera.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly. But there was 2 other things to that. Since I was already having, and for many, many years, I continue to have other activities, this was not just going to be a project where you want to have quick returns and you wanted to have an immediate return on investment. It was a very strategic, even for our family, a strategic decision. We said, okay, we are now in India. We have made India our home. What can we bring also to India? It was not an approach that I am a multinational company, I come, I have discovered the market, I want to make money and take things out. We said, okay, what can we do that can last for generations? We wanted to create a brand that would become a reference for excellence, for quality, for Frenchness in India, and who could last for generations. Who knows, we may be there, we may not be there, we may own part of it, we may not own, those things happen in business. The activities are sold, others, they own it, etc. But we wanted to lay a very, very solid foundation and ground for something that can continue in the future. And there are examples of that in other countries.
Yeah. Do you think your experience of running a large technology company has helped you in betterment of opening and doing market research of Lopera?
It certainly did, because none of the members of my family are cooks or bakers or pastry chefs or anything. Yeah, I do personally cook myself, but that's for private, that's for my own family. So nothing would foretell what we did as Lopera in India.
So how did you found those guys to develop
very
pastries for
systematic,
you?
I must confess. My professional activities, and as I mentioned, I have done many things, have taken me to work in 64 different countries. And this is no exaggeration.
Yeah.
Some of my missions were as short as 2 or 3 days, but in other cases, I have lived years in a particular country. So I had a pretty, and that's on all 5 continents. So my business experience and background had taught me how to approach an unknown country, an unknown market, how to learn, how not to impose your point of view, how to adapt, how to analyze, how to find local solutions to the problems, not wanting to do one size fits all, etc. So when we came to India, we did it also very systematically. So I knew what we needed to know about administrative procedures, about raw materials, about personnel, about regulation, etc. We went very systematic. We had already established the company which holds the brand name Lopera. It's called French Bakery Pvt Ltd. And French Bakery Pvt Ltd. was registered in October 2008 before we even decided to create Lopera. So you see, the experience had taught me prepare things well in advance. So the moment we decided we want to start Lopera, we had already a registered, fully functioning company, directors, bank account, everything was there. So this is when you say, how that helped me a lot, having done this in other parts of the world, to adapt that knowledge. And as I mentioned, I am an engineer. You learn to proceed very systematically. And I applied that. Then we obviously, for example, specifically to answer your question, we hired a French chef before even deciding to create Lopera. For 6 months, we had a French chef who was coming back and forth between France and India.
Oh.
He was here.
So he was also French national?
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
So you hired him through France only?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he would come here, we would go, we traveled the country to see the experience. We went to Chennai, to Bangalore, to Mumbai, who has done these kind of things. We interviewed with my son over 50 or 60 people who had either cafes, restaurants. We interviewed suppliers of raw materials. We interviewed chefs in 5-star hotels we were trying to learn and well understand. So that helped me to do things in a very systematic manner.
So being not an Indian, right? Was that ever a challenge to you, running a business in India?
Very good question. The simple answer is no.
Okay.
Because we were very much aware that we are not Indians. And we had no pretense that we know everything better or even at all. So we had very, very, very good friends, Indian friends, who helped us, who guided us. We consulted every step of our project with our Indian friends, who were wonderful, who were experienced, who had created their own industries, who were entrepreneurs or family businesses or experts in the field of creating industries. Others were experts in the field of law. So, and they were wonderful because they were friends. They helped us with a lot of goodwill. We would have not been able to do what we did the way we did it without the help of our Indian friends and colleagues.
Amazing. So you started the first outlet after 18 months of hard work and research and spending time in the market. How much investment did you make in the first outlet?
If I'm not, well, outlet is one part of the investment. At the initial phase, the biggest investment was creating our first production center or commissary or kitchen or whatever you want to call it.
Which is where?
It is in Sector 2 of Noida.
Okay.
And it was in a building which was still empty, shell building. It was a new building. Noida at that time, it was just at the beginning in 2000. And we found the building in...
You took it on rent? On lease?
On lease, yes. Because also as a foreign company or majority foreign owned, you cannot own property easily, and it had its
it's
own
complicated.
complications.
Yeah.
And buying or building would have required also more capital.
Right.
So in the initial phase of our activities, it was roughly, if I'm not mistaken, we spent about 350 or 400,000 euros on the commissary, and then about 150,000 or so for our initial outlet. So just the first investments were roughly 500,000 euros. At that time. At that time, euro, dollar, more or less, it
70,
was
80
the
rupees.
same. Yes, a little more. If your viewers are more familiar with US dollars, but let's say 500,000 US dollars.
Right.
But this is also, again, we had spent over $100,000 before even we decided to start the business. You know those things when you hire a French chef, when you travel, where you go, and when you create a company, all those things cost money. So it could have all been lost.
Right.
The 100,000.
So you raised money or you invested your personal?
I was lucky in my previous activities. As I mentioned, I was involved. This is my 6th startup. My first 2 startups, my own startups, they did not succeed. And that's where you learn.
Right.
But number 4, 5, and this one, 6 one, they are more successful. Actually, number 3, 4, 5, and this 6 one.
All 3, 4, 5 are still running, or you sold it out?
Yes. They are sold. They exist, but
you took an exit.
Yes, it was not just mine. I was part of larger groups. And in number 4 and 5, I had stock options, which allowed me to invest in Lopera. So I basically took it out, whatever I had,
and
as
invested everything.
Revenue. Yes. The last one, which was, I think, the one before last, it was a medical device company, an Israeli company, which was then sold to another American company for about $1 billion.
Oh, that's crazy amount of money.
But as it is in the United States, about 8 months after that company, which was called Covidian, bought our company, which was based in Israel, they themselves were bought by another company for $26 million. So this is the story of over a bigger fish just
buying the
swallowing the small one, and then they get swallowed themselves by a huge. Yes. So that company is the final one. So that one belongs now to the Medtronics, which is one of the huge, giant medical device companies. They are known for their pacemakers and many other activities. So our company was sold for $1 billion to Covidian, and Covidian was sold for $25 or $26 million to Medtronics.
So, but you invested a lot of money when you started up. So if
that was just the beginning. We had to put many, many more millions in the company.
But when someone wants to start something of a similar nature, can anyone do it at a less money? Is that possible?
Well, it depends what you want to do and how you want to do and what area of business you're talking about.
Yeah.
There are some activities which may scale up very quickly. And you may attract interest and capital and things like that. That is obviously possible. You can even do what we do. You start less, but it depends what is your objective. You can start in your home kitchen. You can start baking, and you can sell, 5, 10, 15, 20 cakes a day. But it will never generate enough surplus for you to create a commissary of $500,000. And then we knew that the first milestone was we needed to come then to 5 outlets. And then you needed to take it to 10 outlets to be taken seriously. Then you needed to have a structure that gives you stability, because business is not just easy. There are fluctuations, there are tough, and the best example was what happened during COVID. We had to assure the survival of the company during COVID. It cost us something like 8-9 crores. That was, you had to just put the money, because your landlords, they were not coming, oh, please don't pay us any rent. They
the rent still has to be paid.
But that represents a very high percentage of our business. Or you cannot just tell...
What's out of the overall percentage? How much is the rent percent?
It depends on the outlet.
On an average?
It's somewhere between 18 to 20, which is one of the challenges of India. The right percentage of rent should be, in our business, not more than 10%.
Oh, is it? But so, like in Paris, it would be somewhere around 8 to 10%.
Yes. Because the real estate business is much better organized. In Western countries, there is a real market, and there is offer and demand, and you have a choice. Here, basically, the landlords have a monopoly of what they have, and they dictate practically their conditions. So the rents are, if you don't want it, I have another 10 people who will take it. So the market forces are not there. So, and be it on high street, be it on in malls, etc., still the offer is well behind and below what is demanded. So look, for example, let's take in Delhi an iconic place, Khan Market. The capacity, there is a limited number of shops. They have been the same, and they have not changed for, I don't know, 30 years. And nothing else has come in that part of the city to change it. Or take the malls. You had the Vasant Kunj malls, the 3, and the only other mall which came in the city was the Chanakya, which is really the offer is too small, too small.
You invested a lot of money. You opened up a commissary. You call this commissary?
Yeah, well, we call it our production center.
Which is in Noida.
In Sector 2.
The first outlet was in?
So the very, very first outlet was inside the French embassy. When they saw what we were doing, they said, we want to have these products. So we created, it's not a shop, but it is, we call it a counter. And it serves the personnel of the French embassy, and it serves their visitors. But the first, and then the second one was also a very small operation inside the DLF golf club on Golf Course Road. And then, but the first real shop outlet was at Khan Market, which opened its doors on 30th of March 2011. Obviously, it was a very, very important date for us.
But you decided to open up a production facility in Noida instead of having small kitchens at all of these outlets. What was the reason?
Oh, first of all, when we planned, our original plan was a 10-year plan. And we knew we wanted to have many outlets. And there is no other way for securing the quality and consistency of your products than to have a central kitchen where you have all the most advanced equipment, you have the best personnel, and you can secure and guarantee the quality and the consistency for your outlets. So that was absolutely...
So maintain the quality at each outlet?
Yes. And
you had a central kitchen.
Exactly. But we're talking... Now, this is very interesting because we evolved. We are not what we were in 2008. 2008, we were selling only bakery, that means bread and Viennese, and we were selling pastry products and some coffee or some drinks. But today we sell food. We have kitchen. We have savory kitchens. So those are decentralized. Those are in the outlets. But the production of pastry, bakery products,
Croissant.
that means breads, croissants, pastries, macaroons, whatever, chocolate, etc. That's centralized.
Got it.
And it needed, these are huge machine investments. We have very sophisticated equipment from sheeters, mixers, cold rooms, proofers, etc. These are all important investments, and you cannot just do it for each outlet.
Right. So how do you plan the supply chain? So when the production happens, does it happens for every outlet every day? How does the transfer of produced items happens to each outlet?
Yes. So there is a very sophisticated system in place. And, if I wanted to answer systematically and scientifically to your question, for us, the supply chain starts with the procurement of raw materials. And it ends by the delivery of the products to our outlets or through our delivery system to our customers. So you have the purchasing. And already each one of these, I don't know how much time you have, but
we have a lot of time.
So just purchasing of these items, it needs also some principles. So for example, one of our principles was that we will always purchase Indian produced products if the quality is good. We will never use imported products just for the sake of saying we are using imported products. So there you have a selection process. So some products were available readily from the beginning, Indian manufacturers. Some of them became available in the course of time from Indian sources. And I give you two examples. For example, we were using imported coffee and we were using imported butter. Those two became then available at the quality which was required for our production. They became Indian manufacturers who could supply that. There are other products that we still don't have at that level. I give you some cream, for example, some of the cream, or chocolates. The quality of the chocolates which we need is not available. It may be. There are many startups, and I hope one day they will be able to prove it. So that's, let's say, from the procurement. It's very important, because if you get it wrong at that level, your final product will never be the quality you want. So that's at the procurement level. Then you have obviously the production. Now, what you're asking is the logistics. Obviously, what happens, there are two sources of orders, and we have three people who are just doing that. They are consolidating. They receive the required orders from the outlets for the next day.
Okay.
So the outlets, each one of them, in
place
a late
order.
Afternoon, they based on their sales of the day of the week, the season, etc. They place their orders for their products.
Okay.
Then we have also the orders which come to our website.
Online.
Which was online, that they are the ones that they are for immediate delivery. They go through the outlets, but then there are orders which are for the following days, and also some items that are produced for stock. So the customer CRM, they consolidate everything. They prepare the orders by 9-10 o'clock in the evening, and they transmit these orders to the production.
At night?
At night.
Okay.
Because the night shift comes and starts working around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening, and they finish around 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so the outlets are open?
This is the production
The
center.
production center.
The production center. The outlets, usually personnel, they come at 7 o'clock in the morning. The products are delivered to them 7 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the morning. But they have 1 hour. What they do, they prepare the outlet. They place the products. When you go at 8 o'clock in our outlet, it looks beautiful. It's like jewelry shop, all the products and everything is clean. And they do also something which is very important for us. We do not sell products of one day the next day. So they return all the products which were unsold back to the production center. I don't know if I answered your question concerning the logistics.
Yeah, absolutely, you did. In fact, my next question was about this only. What do you do about the shelf life and the products that are unsold?
Yes.
What
So
happens?
we have uh, three different shelf lives. We have one set of products that are long shelf lives, like, for example, biscuits, like preserves, jams, like teas. You know, we have our own blend of teas, which we work with a wonderful supplier of tea who blends for us. It is Lopera blend. So these things, their shelf life ranges from 1 month to 1 year, 2 years. For example, preserves, they are good for 2 years, most of them. So, but then we have products that have a shelf life of only 1 day, and this is mostly all our breads, our Viennese, our pastries, etc. We have very few items in that category that may have a shelf life of. There are some special breads that, due to their consistency and the way they are, for example, there is a bread called pumpernickel. So pumpernickel has a shelf life of 7-8 days. So we do sell them a second day. Or 1 or 2 other breads like that. But generally, the majority, 90, except those biscuits and that category, except those, everything else has a shelf life of 1 day. So things which are unsold, we take them back to the production center, and 3 things happen to them. First, our personnel can purchase whatever they want at a very steep discount.
Okay.
They can purchase it. We give precedence to our own personnel. Second, those products, actually 4 categories. Second, those products which are good and can be consumed, we send them to temples, orphanages.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes. So, but for example, in summer, products that have cream, that will be very dangerous,
Right.
because the cold chain is broken. So that's the 4th category that we have to discard. But then those things that can be used, we give them to people who cannot afford them. Then the 3rd category happens to our breads when they are dry. Because bread, really, a baguette, you cannot use it the next day, etc. So we give them to, I'm smiling, we give them to animal shelters. So
But this is a very generous thing to do. That's so
well,
kind.
it's the right thing to do. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's generous, but
I
it
think
is.
people at a lot of restaurants are like, a lot of wastage happens over there, and if you have figured out about that aspect, this is something which is very commendable.
Thank you. But really, we thought we had to do it
Yeah.
like that, because this is food
And
items.
was that like something that happened after a while, or was that pre-planned when you were planning
This is
it?
a good question. No, that was not. Many things we planned in advance, but these things they evolved where it so happened that we had a wonderful friend who runs several animal shelters, and once we were in discussion and we were really looking what to do with that.
Right.
Then we did. Then we had some contacts with some orphanages or temples, etc. Then we started doing that on a systematic basis. So it evolved over time.
Right.
It was not, I must say, it was not planned on day 1.
Yeah. What's your top selling product out of everything that you have?
You know, sometimes I'm asked this question. I probably, that if I take it will surprise you, but probably it's cappuccino and cafe.
Okay.
But we have different categories of products. So we have breads, we have Viennese, we have pastries. We have then within pastries we have different different categories. But I think for your viewers or people who are watching, which is interesting, for example, in breads, people love sourdough breads, or products like cereal baguettes. So that's one area. By the way, we produce every day over 20 types of breads only. 20 types of bread. You know, bread, when you say it's our bread, but there are many breads. So we even have gluten-free bread.
Right.
So that's for breads. Then we have in Viennese. And in Viennese, that's where you have croissant, chocolate croissant, etc. So there, obviously, our regular croissant, plain croissant, as we call it, and almond croissant. They are very, very appreciated. And we believe we have some of the best, if not the best, available. So that's in the Viennese category. Then we have a category of its own, which are macarons. We really brought the culture of macaron to Delhi. And I don't want to speak of the rest of India because we are only mainly active in Delhi NCR. So our macarons are very, very appreciated. Then we go to the pastries. In the pastries, our customers love our eclairs. The chocolate eclair is very, very, very popular. And then we have some signature products. Like our millefeuille, which is a layered product. Some people, another name, it's called Napoleon pastry, but ours we call it a millefeuille, which is the real name for it. And also there is a signature product, not because of our name, but it is really called Opera pastry. This name, we didn't give it to it. It was created some 70 years ago, and it is called Opera.
Okay.
Because the pastry shop and the pastry chef, he had his shop close to Paris Opera. And this was the first time that a pastry was created which combined both coffee and chocolate perfume in the same pastry. So it was innovation because people were doing coffee-based desserts and chocolate-based desserts.
But not both.
Not both. So he created, it celebrated its 70th anniversary of creation. And so that's also very popular with our customers.
But you said you have 22 types of breads, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you, when you started, was the menu same or you expanded the menu?
No. It was, I have somewhere some pictures of the first display unit in Cannes Market. I think perhaps they were in pastry display, they were perhaps 8 or 10 different pastries. And perhaps we had 5 or 6 or 7 breads. And compared to what we have now, it looks quite empty. Today, I am not exaggerating. We have over 2,000 SKUs.
2,000 SKUs?
SKUs. But we call also one SKU if you have different sizes of the same product. And it happens that we have up to 3. So, but there are over 2,000. I think it's 2,300 SKUs.
Isn't that becoming a challenge? Like so many
but
SKUs?
we don't produce all of them.
Okay.
So every day we produce over 250 different products.
Okay.
Sometimes 280 different products.
Depending on the demand that outlet is.
So it is demand, but also people like, there are some things you have always to have. We cannot take away eclairs.
Right.
You cannot take out macarons. You cannot take out, let's say, millefeuille. But there are many other products that we innovate. We bring some of them, we take them out, and we come back. Then you have seasonal products. Now it's Christmas time. So we have a lot of it. We have at least 10, 15 different Christmas products, like Yule logs, like gingerbreads, like, I don't know, Santa Claus breads, like Christmas pudding, like, you name it, the standard Christmas products. And we have something which is really wonderful. We introduced it to Delhi, which is called Galette des Rois, which is a product we usually start selling it from 20th of December. In Europe, they start selling it in France around after New Year, from 31st onwards. But these are, so this thousands of SKUs, include all of them. All of them. But then they are there, the recipes are there, the staff knows, and then we may decide to bring it. And then seasonal products. You have all our mango specialities. Soon we will have strawberry specialities. Then you have, I don't know, special products for special occasions near Diwali. You have Saint Valentine's products, etc. So that makes, and then when you add them together, very quickly it comes to thousands.
Yeah. So for producing so many of SKUs, product expansion, and you said you also innovate and bring back, how do you decide what is the next product that you want to bring to the market? Is there any process to it?
Yes, there are different sources of that. One source is always when you have a good and creative pastry chef. He comes and says, oh, let's do something. So that's one source of product and product innovation. Second source of product innovation is customers. Customers, we did not start with it, but then we had customers who came and said, oh, we love French pastries, but please do them sugarless, which was a huge challenge. I mean, how can you do French pastries? So we worked. So that actually, 2 nights ago, I was at an event and this lady, very, very slim and thin, oh, thank you so much for having done sugarless products for us, etc. So those are customer demands. But we just don't do it if we cannot do it to our standards. So this is then a customer demand. That then, or we have gluten-free cake. One of them, it's a tea cake. It's gluten-free. I think we call it almond orange tea cake, which is delicious, better than other cakes that you may have. These were clearly customer initiated products that we did. And then there is a third say source of innovation is when we travel back home and then we see some of the products that we know, oh, what if we would do that also in India? And we have done that. There is a French product which is called Saint Honoré, which is with shoes and creams, etc. So one of our trips when I was in Paris with my wife, we ordered it. I said, oh, we should bring that also to Lopera in India. So these are mainly the three sources of the product innovation.
Got it. And how do you price? How do you decide the pricing of these products?
Okay, the pricing is always a tricky business. When I was going to university, I did my Ph.D. with a professor who was also teaching marketing. And he was telling me the price is where offer and demand meet, but you better make sure that it covers your costs, otherwise you go out of business.
Right.
So, first of all, we have overall, our business is extremely reasonably priced. I know because of the final financial results of the company. So we are very, very. So one thing when we do, we make the recipe. Then once the recipe is made, we calculate what is the recipe cost. So recipe means just the pure raw materials that you put there. It is the cost of your butter, cream, sugar, egg, or whatever you put. This is called the recipe cost. This is the first indication for the building of the price. Then we know how much is going to be the overheads that you need to have in a shop. How much are your production overheads? How much is... Then we come to a number which really, if we get that, we are covering our costs.
Right.
And then we decide to see how much would the market
Will be willing to pay.
willing to pay, and where is the competition?
Hmm.
That we always wanted to be 30-40%
Lower.
cheaper than five-star hotels. So if you compare our, let's say, opera cake or our millefeuille or our bread or our cake, etc., we are certainly 30-40% cheaper than depending on which five-star hotel. In some cases we are 50% lower than that. That was one thing we wanted. And the other thing, it's obviously it should not be too high to discourage our customers from buying. So it is an iterative. So we do competition, we do other pastry products, we see our cost, and then we use good judgment to define a price. And it is very interesting that really, perhaps, I don't know, twice, 3 times a year, somebody may make an observation about our prices, which means people find our prices fair.
Right, right. So another question to me is, and people would love to, always learn about this is, so let's say you have a pastry that you sell at 100 rupees. Just take an example. Out of that, what would be the cost of goods sold? What would be generally, on an average, the overhead cost, the rent, marketing cost? What would be the overall structure, if you can just give an average?
I can give you, yes. The food cost, it varies between month to month and season to season.
But you can't price your products depending on that. Your prices will remain the same.
I will see, but the fluctuation is not huge. The fluctuation is our current food costs go between 28-29% up to 31-32%.
Okay.
And this is mainly due to the high quality of raw materials that we use. You see, we don't use margarine. We use butter. We don't use compound chocolate. We use real chocolate. So it is on the higher side. It is on the higher side. So roughly around 30% is our food cost. But in this cost, we also include the cost of our returns. You see, because as you saw, there are some returns. And the raw materials, it has to be taken. So we consider as if we had used more raw materials for the products we use.
Got it.
You see.
You deliver.
So that's it. We have packaging which is in the range of 2-3%. Now, depending on the outlets, the rent, as I mentioned to you, it can go between 14-15%. Unfortunately, in some cases, it goes up to 20-21-22%, which is very high.
Right.
Then you have 5-6% utility costs. We need display units. They consume a lot of electricity. People need air conditioning, light, etc. You have 2-3% perhaps marketing costs. Then you have transport, you have then administrative overheads, etc. So I think the numbers I gave you, if somebody writes them down, they can see how the numbers add up.
Right, right. Now let's talk a little bit about the marketing, right? You gave an example of the cost also. Who are your customers majorly, and how do you reach out or market them?
Yes. So the majority of our customers, even if we are called Lopera, if we are a French, quintessentially French operation, the majority of our customers, thank God, are Indians. Because there are 1.4 billion of them. And there is, I don't know what is the total population of foreigners in India. So but obviously they have to have a certain level of revenue who can afford our products. So this is the top layer of our products. These are global Indians. These are Indians who have traveled, who are familiar with a croissant, the sourdough bread, with I don't know, a millefeuille, an éclair, etc. Then we have aspirational Indians who can afford, perhaps not every day, but from time to time, they want to have a French experience. Because, by the way, if I may open a bracket, Lopera is not just about the products that you eat. Lopera is about an experience. If you go into any of our outlets, but we wanted it to be like that, you feel you are in Paris. You feel you are in France. This is the decoration of the outlet. This is the furniture we use. This is the colors we use. This is the music we play, etc. So it is, and this is the uniform of our staff. This is the way we train them to face the customers. So it is an experience that we bring to them. So that brings them this full experience of being in France and going through that particular the area. And so this is what makes Lopera experience a combination of products which are offered plus the experience,
the ambience,
that it is there.
But how do you market? How do you reach out, or how do you invite people?
How do we invite people? We had to make a major decision. No company, nowhere, even if they have a lot of resources, have infinite resources. I don't want to name brands, but no matter who it is, there is always a limit to everything. We decided not to spend any money on pure advertising.
Okay.
This was a bold decision. Right or wrong, still I don't know. But we said we put every money that we have, that we want to use for marketing, we use it to make the experience easier. We would like, I don't mind if there is a charity. There is one this afternoon. We sent some products. I don't mind supporting the charity by sending them products. It's like money. But I prefer sending products rather than just giving cash. We do support good causes. We support many cultural activities of the French Embassy and the French Institute and the Alliance Française, etc. We support them with products. Let's spend it in making them taste our products. Then they will like it. Then we do public relations, but what we do, we bring people who are influencers, people who write. We tell them you're always welcome. You are our guest. There are some of them, by the way, who don't want to write about you unless they have paid their fee, which is good. I have great respect for it. We have some of very close friends, commentators, critics who do that. They really insist on paying everything because they say otherwise it looks as if you have influenced us. So our marketing is very organic. But we do have, obviously, social media. We have Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, we have Twitter, X now, and we have our website. We do to our best ability, and we really inform. We try to do our marketing by informing people. We have resisted. You will never find a collateral of Lopera saying, oh, we give you discount. We don't give discount. Discount means you had overcharged before and now you're giving it back. That's not how we operate.
That's the same principle I follow in my business. I never give discount.
Yes,
not even a single
that means you had overcharged in the first place.
Correct.
But we are grateful to our customers. When they purchase, we give them some loyalty points, which they can again exchange against products.
Got it.
You can call it's like a discount, but it's different. It's a more elegant way of saying thank you to our customers. I don't know if I answered your question. So we are in the printed media, we are in social media, we are at experiential level. You know, recently there was a national day of a country which was not this one, particularly France. We don't mind giving them a return gift with a sample of our products.
Right.
You see, that's, and God knows how many dozens of thank yous we had because they had discovered new products
Right.
we had put there. So it's a novel way of marketing rather than just putting a full page ad which costs lakhs and you never know if the
But
right people...
aren't you afraid of your competition that they might be spending so much money, but you aren't? Do you get those kind of feelings?
Good question. It's on competition. You know, we have been in business now for, in March, it will be 13 years that we opened our Cannes Market outlet next year. And we have had hundreds. We have. I think we give a number to the employees. I think we are now at number 880. Doesn't mean we have 800, but 880 people came and went through Lopera. They got trained, and right now we are under 300 employees that we have. But a lot of them, quite a few, they thought they can copy and they can create, which is good, which develops the business.
Yeah.
So there are at least, I can name at least 15 other companies that they followed us. They are all over the place. But my philosophy is that competition is good to develop a market segment. You know, the first car was by Henry Ford. It was called the T model. It was just one color, one car, one model. If he would have been the only one, we would have never have roads. We would have never had highways. We would have never had an
Tesla.
automotive. We would have never had Tesla.
Yeah.
So it was good that there were other cars. But what is important, you have to be the Tesla. You have to be the BMW. You have to be the Mercedes. You have to innovate. You have to be the best. So to answer your question, obviously it is easier if you don't have direct competition. But competition, I don't want to say names. There is close to one of our outlets, a very, let's say, known brand opened. And since they opened, everybody say, "Oh, aren't you afraid?" etc. Our sales went up by 20% because people could now compare the quality
That's an
and the
interesting way
price.
to look at it.
Yes, they said, now we understand. Really, there was one of our landlords, he came to me and he said, "Yeah, you see," he doesn't speak well English, so half Hindi, half English, half translation. You know, I was always thinking, to one of our landlords, and he was saying, you know, I was thinking always Lopera is very expensive and things like that, etc. And then I went to this brand, which I don't want to name, and I just bought a few things, and it cost me 40,000 rupees. Something like that at Lopera costs half of it, and it's better. So for him, yes, I may have lost one sale.
But you gain that customer forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or really, I'm not making up. There was another one who said we went to another brand, not the same one. And they went for whatever reason. And he said, we took the products. We went in the same neighborhood, really, a few hundred, not 100, 50, 60 meters away from us. We bought it. We started eating it in the car. I told the driver, let's go back. He went, he just gave them the box and drove away. They didn't ask back for his money. So it is competition, but it also disciplines you. It makes you be more conscious that you have to be very good, you have to be consistent. So it is a nuisance in the short term, but it can be also helpful to redirect you to do the right thing.
Right. That's so amazing and powerful. people get a lot of worry when they see a competition opening up, and they go crazy. They invest heavily in marketing. I think if people start putting more money back into the product, back into the development and enriching the experience of the product, eventually people will like them more, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, they want that experience to be better.
You know, last night I attended a Christmas party, and the person who had invited us was somebody we didn't know. My wife started to talking to this lady who was a customer at Cannes Market. She was somehow, my wife felt that she could open a conversation with her. And then we became more friends. And at her party last night, she was telling me the following. She was saying, you know, here, people, they start with something very shiny, very bright, wonderful, high quality. But then, after some time, it starts to stagnate. And then, a few months later, it goes down. And he said, really, I said, you at Lopera, what you have done, not only you have maintained your quality, but you have innovated and improved. And this is where, you know, Indians have a reputation. At least the reputation, oh, they are price conscious, they don't want to pay high, etc. Look, the intelligence of this person. I mean, they enabled Lopera to become what it is today.
Right.
Those are the customers who are faithful to us, because they realized it was not one day or one season or 1 year affair. We were here to create a baseline. But on the other hand, you haven't actually, this comes at a cost.
Right.
This comes at really spending the money in your raw materials, accepting that you have to invest many years.
Right.
That
to build a brand.
you are, yes.
Yeah. Are you on Swiggy and Zomato? Like these marketplaces?
Yes. We have three. We are Zomato, Swiggy, and DotPay. You can order because for whatever it is, they have an unbelievable infrastructure, reach, and convenience that many customers appreciate.
Right. So overall, from your sale, 100%, how many is through Swiggy, Zomato? How many would be from outlets?
Roughly about between 15 and 17, 18%.
From Swiggy, Zomato?
Let's say through aggregators.
Through aggregators,
which is the same thing.
Right.
Roughly.
Okay.
These are the deliveries which take place.
Got it. And then 80% roughly would be through your own outlets?
Yes, through our own outlets or through our website, which
it.
has also a small percentage.
Right.
Yes.
But you're opening up new outlets now, new cafes with some better experiences, even more music and arts. How do you decide that we want to start a new outlet at this region? What kind of market survey you do?
Well, we would like to be in places where we have our target audience. And we have made mistakes. You know, we have now 17, 18 outlets. But we opened a total of 25 outlets. That means we have closed also 7 or 8 outlets.
Okay.
So not all our choices were correct. Some were incorrect because of the choice of our partners or landlords. Some of them were wrong because the business expectations did not realize. Some were conjunctural because, for example, we had an outlet here in Cyber City inside a business center which was called German Center, and then they closed, so our operation...
I worked over there actually.
Okay, so you must remember we had an outlet at the German Center.
I was at that German center.
Exactly. So we had a cafe at German Center, and when they closed, So we closed also because that was it. And then we had, for example, one outlet at Hauskas Village. But the whole nature of Hauskas Village
It's very
changed.
different,
It's
yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
So we had it when it was the right place to be.
Right.
So we had we had at different. So it has to be. We had done our research. There are some areas that I still. I remember in the early days we wrote down 15 destinations. I think except one, we have now everywhere. You know, we wanted, for example, Khan Market. We wanted to have Vasant Vihar. We wanted to have
Saket maybe.
Saket. Then we wanted to have Defense Colony. There is still one place. I still want to have it, but we have not found the real
Which is that one place?
Malchamark.
Ah.
I would really like to have a Lopera at Malchamark because we have our customers. They have to go now farther away.
Right.
So if we find what we have, I have seen so many locations, real estates. This one has one problem, the other one has other problem. This one doesn't have license. The other one is too big, too small. You cannot get proper licenses, etc. So again, I would still like to open one in Malchamark. Then you have new developments that are coming. So you go also in those areas. Then you see the geography, you see the purchasing power. We have noticed that the best locations for us are locations where there is a combination of both residential and business commercial. So those places are really the most successful one.
And this definitely comes with experience of running the previous ones.
But then we have the problem that those areas are really high street and the real estate is it's not competitive, and it took so long to find the right place at the GK2 M Block Market or at Defense Colony or at Green Park. Imagine all these places. It's not that you have a wonderful new construction. These are old buildings. Very often, I don't know, the owner lives in the United States and the uncle or father-in-law takes care of it. They're complicated. Each one of these, so it is one after one. It is not an easy thing.
Right.
And then obviously you have developers, you want you to go in the middle of nowhere, which is not the right decision for us to do. So.
Do you do influencer marketing? Like reaching out to people who are on Instagram?
We do, perhaps we're not good enough or intensive enough, but we do. We do invite influencers, particularly people who are in F&B and food critics, etc. We invite them to our outlets when we open new outlets, or during celebrations, we share with them some of our hampers so that they can discuss, they can show and discover with them.
Got it.
Yes, we do. But you know, this is now philosophical what I say, but there are so many products. There are so many F&B establishments. There are so many restaurants, cafes, etc. that even if you get the attention of an influencer for 30 seconds or 1 minute, this is drowned in the mass of information that everyone is exposed to every day.
Right.
So yes, we do it, but
very limited.
You cannot build your business just on
through
that.
Influences.
Yes. So
But what's the major bottleneck of growth in your entire business?
Good question.
Yeah.
Having the right people and the right infrastructure to be able to scale up.
How do you solve that problem?
I'm still looking for good solutions. I'm really looking.
But when it comes to people,
I will explain. I will explain what I mean. We are now, with one exception, we are in Delhi NCR.
What's that exception?
We have one outlet in Dehradun.
Okay.
Yeah. It is.
Just one question, sorry. Are all these outlets at individual level profitable? Almost all of them?
Yes, not
Okay.
almost all of them.
All of them, okay.
It is then when you add overheads,
Yeah.
but we don't keep any outlet which is not having a positive EBITDA at outlet level.
How many months do you look at? If it is not turning profitable, you just ditch it off. Is there any timeline that, okay, this is
There
not doing well?
It is a question of judgment. Sometimes you have to be patient. Some things, there is, for example, one of them that which is just on borderline, but the facility where we are, they're going to innovate, and they told us be patient, it will be better, etc.
Got it.
It's not.
It's not always
because
static,
it's
yeah.
it is not like the American hard way. You 2 months you close. We don't. Do
There's no
business.
deadline as such.
No,
Got it.
not
Yeah.
deadline as such. So coming back to your initial question, what is the bottleneck? I really have several requests every month, if not every week, to go to all other parts of India. We were even ready to go to Mumbai. We want to go to Pune. We want to go to Chandigarh. We want to go to Chennai. We want to go to Kolkata. We have to go to Goa, etc. But my son and my wife who are running, we need to be sure that we can deliver the same level of quality and the same level of service where we go. We cannot clone ourselves. So we have to find a way that we can provide the same experience of the brand in Goa. We can deliver the same brand experience in Mumbai. It is so easy. It is so easy to destroy a reputation, and it is so difficult to build
one. Yeah.
So if you ask me, is how do I structure it? So we have some ideas that we should not do it just ourselves, because when you go in a new territory, you are totally newcomer, you don't know. So you need to have a good and the right partner. So we want to have the right partners there. And it is not about financial resources.
Right.
The structure of the company is such that finances is available. But it is how to ensure that. How to ensure that somebody is there who understands if the product has deviated from its French standards. How do we make sure that the level of service is assured? So this is our biggest bottleneck at the time being, but we are working on it.
And all the people that are working in the commissionery where you produce, now are these French people or Indians?
No. We always have a French executive pastry chef, but the rest is
Are
all
Indians.
Indians.
Got it.
Yes. We have one person who is French who helps us in the for the overall supervision of outlets, to help us to bring the French attitude of the cafe business and Salon de Thé. And obviously there's my son who is the co-founder and who is the initiator of the idea, my wife and myself. So right now, and we have one other foreign person. It's a lady from Moldova. So in terms of non-Indians, but she has been married to an Indian for 26 years, so she knows the country. We have been here for 15 years, etc. So we are 3 + 1, 5, 6 usually expats in the company, and not more, but the other, I don't know, the other balance to 300, they are all Indians, and they are wonderful people.
Amazing. I mean, I'm so, I would say, I'm not getting the right word, empowered or maybe inspired by the kind of journey you have, being a foreign national in India, building such a reputed brand. It's so powerful. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you so
Before
much.
we end this, people have now understood the business side of Lopera. They have gone to know a little bit about you. And you told me offline when we were chatting that you came to India when you were 16-year-old, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So people would love to know, what was India back then?
Yes. First of all, I must say also why I came to India.
Yeah.
So obviously, India was always interesting, but at that time, less less known. I came first to India in 1967. I was 16 years old, and those who make the math, then they can calculate what my age is.
He was doing that.
He was doing it. Okay, I can say I was born in 1950. And I came to India. I belong to the Baha'i faith. Those of your viewers who are from Delhi, they have always seen or heard about the Lotus Temple. The Lotus Temple is a Baha'i temple. It's actually the other name, the official name of it's the Baha'i House of Worship. And when I was 16, I had heard that there were large Baha'i communities in India. There are a couple of million Baha'is in India. And I wanted to discover them because they were Baha'is of all walks of life. They were city dwellers as they were villagers. And they were from sophisticated citizens like professors, doctors, etc., and businessmen, up to very, very simple people. So I came to discover India. I came to discover the soul of India, and I came to visit the Baha'i communities, both in the cities and also in the villages. And I can say that this really marked also my personality. I was with my backpack. I traveled. I stayed over 2.5 months, close to 3 months in India. I traveled third class train, and I know what it means when the train comes empty and you have to jump into it, how you get there before you're left outside.
So at that time also it was happening?
I assure you it was like that.
Yeah.
And the first time I was too late, and I'm not exaggerating. The doors, because it was summer, the doors, they were open. They would not close the door. I don't know how it is now. I haven't traveled in this kind of trains. So really, my seat was on the steps. And then when people got off, I could go a little more inside. But that was the only place I got until I learned how to do it, etc. But it was wonderful. India was much simpler. Let's say, more authentic, less materially developed, in a sense, more spiritual. I remember conversations with, I don't know what you call them, the controller, the ticket who was controlling in the
TC.
train. What do you call them?
Ticket collector.
Ticket collector.
Yeah.
And I still remember one of them, he explained to me that he had a degree in literature, in English. I was so impressed. This ticket collector, he had a degree, and we were speaking about literature. We spoke, we talked with each other. So there was let's say more authenticity, and there was much less pollution, no pollution. There were barely cars in Delhi and in other places, and there was a wonderful opportunity for me to connect with people and to get close to the soul of India, which I really kept in my heart. And I went from north to south, I went to east to west. I went to cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai. At that time it was Madras. Then I went really to villages where I could not communicate, and there were some friends who would translate, etc. And I loved all that. And then the next time I came was 40 years later as a businessman. And God, what a difference.
Yeah.
What a difference. I mean, some of the problems which existed at that time, like lack of enough food in some parts of the country, then Green Revolution had happened, there was plenty of food, India became a net exporter of food, etc. The roads, the infrastructure, the IT, it was a different world. But I hope that India and Indians can keep also that particular specialty, which was the Indian soul, its purity, its deep spirituality. even if the material prosperity continues as it will, and I hope it will in the years to come.
Do you miss living in Paris?
That's a very good question. And like many questions, there is not a simple answer. There are some things that I miss from Paris. And when we go back to Paris after 2-3 weeks, there are many things we miss
From India.
From India. So I can tell you what I miss. Perhaps here. I miss the street cafes of Paris. Here, there's so much pollution, you cannot sit outside. But in Paris, you can. I love the museums and the monuments of Paris. Then there is another thing that I love in Paris with my wife. When we go in Paris, we almost never take a car or a taxi. We walk a lot. And if we want to go from one place to the other, we take the subway, which makes you walk even more because you have to go up, down from one place to the other. So, and I still jog. I can no more jog in Delhi because I don't like jogging with a mask, which is difficult for me to breathe. So I used to jog. When we came to Delhi in the 2008 till 2012, 15, I still used to jog outside. But when I'm in Paris or in some other parts of India, which has also clean air, I love jogging outside. So that's the things that I miss. But then when we are there, we miss our Indian friends. We miss this dynamism of youth in India, this huge energy, this desire to build a better and stronger India, to find its place in the world map, that they want to contribute to, and they want to, and they have created some things that are unique, like this UPI, like the Aadhaar. As we know those things, I don't want to repeat some cliches. These are realities. And this is a strength that India has. I don't know if I may say something that I wish to share with any of your young, is that I really wish that the Indian youth, that they get trained, they have this desire of creating, building, even if they get other degrees overseas, if they do go to US, to Europe, to whatever, I would like to tell them, guys, come back. Your skills, your talent, that's the place to use it, because India can use it. When you are doing those things in America, in Europe, etc., you're fighting, you're competing, you have to take somebody else's place. In India, there's so much to do. And I'm not just giving empty advice to anyone. That's what me and my family did. We left Paris, not because we were looking after money. There's so much to do here. Look, who would care about a French bakery and pastry in France? And there are so many of them. And this is one idea. If I were younger, I could have started, 20 other startups. So my advice to young people is that get trained, get experience.
Come back.
Come back. I give you one example. There is one lady, I forgot her name, she's Chinese. She studied in China, she went to USA, she got the best training at one of the major US universities. She was an investment banker, etc. Then she came back to China. She created a ride-sharing company called Didi. They bought Uber in China. Uber left China. It's the Chinese version of ride-sharing in China, made by a Chinese woman who had the best education in the United States. But she didn't stay there.
She came back.
Brought her talent, her experience, her know-how, and did something incredible. She was able to beat
Yeah.
the
The
European.
US counterparts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't just think that you leave India, you go and you buy your house and whatever in United States or in London or in Paris, etc. Because the real action is here,
Happening here.
not there.
Yeah. But so thankful to you for being here.
Thank you
And
for
thank you so
having
much.
me.
We
Thank
would
you
definitely
so
do
much.
something. One more session later on, once you have more time, we'll definitely do one more.
Thank you. Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.